Hello, geometry students. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about inscribed quadrilaterals. That is a quadrilateral four-sided figure that has all its vertices on the circle. But before we start with that, I want to refresh your recollection about inscribed angles, because an inscribed quadrilateral is composed of inscribed angles. And just remember, it's a 2-to-1 relationship. I always write 2 angle equals arc. And just remember that over and over. So if you look at this one, it says to find the measure of the angle F. Well, here's angle F, and here is its inscribed arc. So I write down my formula, 2 angle equals arc. Excuse me. And then I fill in what I know. I know 2. I know the angle is what I'm trying to find, so I'm going to call it measure of angle F. And then the arc itself is actually composed of 2 pieces, a 66-degree arc and a 90-degree arc. Oh, the total arc is 156. So the measure of this angle is 78 degrees. Now, before you put a box around it, you should always check to see if it seems reasonable. This does look like it could be a 78-degree angle, so I'm convinced of that one. Find the measure of angle C. We'll first find C first. There's the angle C. And here is its inscribed arc. So this is pretty much the same thing. 2 angle equals arc. I know 2 is 2. I know the angle is what I'm trying to find. And the arc, again, is composed of 2 parts, a 74-degree arc plus a 130-degree arc. I think that's 204 degrees. And again, always check to see if it seems reasonable. This is more than 90 degrees, so it does seem like it could be a 102-degree angle. How about measure of angle K? Well, here's K, and it looks like I don't have enough information because the intercepted arc, there's nothing there. However, I do know the other parts, and I can find the degree length of this yellow arc by subtracting from 360. So I'm going to find the measure of the arc. That ended up on purple. I'm going to find the measure of this arc that I'm going to call LMZ. I suspect that this is a major arc. That's why I'm putting in the 3rd letter. And it's going to be 360 minus 64 minus 70. So the measure of the arc that I'm looking for is actually 226 degrees. So this yellow is 226. Basically, I took the whole circle and subtracted off that and that. Now I'm going to do 2 angle equals arc. And I found the arc was 226. Measure of angle K is equal to 113. Quick glance at measure of angle K shows that it could indeed be a 113-degree angle. Well, doing all that leads me to inscribed quadrilaterals, and what you need to realize on quadrilaterals, which actually came from the last one, and that is that opposite corners are not the same. This is definitely a thin angle, and that's a wide angle. D is thin, B is wide. But they are supplementary. Opposite corners are supplementary. So if you look at C and A, that's equal to 180. The measure of angle D with the measure of angle B is equal to 180. Opposite corners are supplementary. They add to 180. So if you look at this one, it's similar to what I had before. I want to find the measure of arc QR. Well, I'm going to find QR first, this arc. And so normally I would be looking at the angle that goes across from it, but I don't have an angle for that. But I do have an angle here. That gives me this arc. So if I can figure out this arc, and I also know the 70, then to find the measure of angle Q, I would just need to subtract it from 360. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find this missing arc first by saying 2 angle equals arc. And the arc I'm trying to find is the orange arc. So 2. The measure of the angle is 85. And I'm trying to find the measure of arc QPE. And again, I don't know if this is a major arc or a minor arc, so I'm going to put all 3 letters in. It's not a major arc. The measure of this arc, which I could have just called, is actually 170 degrees, so slightly less than a semicircle. But because I know that, I now can find the measure of the yellow arc by saying the measure of QR, which is the yellow arc, is equal to the entire circle minus the part I just found, the 170, and minus the part that they gave me. So the 170 was that part that I just found, 360 minus 170. So it looks like it's 120. Now, the measure of arc QR is 120. But again, I always say before you put a box around it to check it, but it's kind of hard to check to see if this arc is 120. But if I relate it back to its central angle, and I look at the central angle seems like it could be 120 degrees. So this arc, I'm convinced, is 120 degrees. You can't find it directly. You have to find an opposite arc and then subtract it in pieces. These problems are all different, so you have to be careful. So I'm trying to find the measure of angle G. So angle G is right here. It has an intercepted arc. I don't want to do that. It has an intercepted arc that I don't know. But I know the angle on this other side. Actually, I think that's probably what the question was asking originally, find the measure of angle Z. I know this angle here because I can say the measure of this unknown angle is 2 angle equals arc. Watch. 2, the measure of that unknown angle, which is actually Z, is equal to a combined 110 plus 76. The measure of the angle I don't want is 93 degrees. However, because opposite corners are supplementary, I know that this angle and this angle together equal 180. So in order to find the measure of angle G, I just take 180 and subtract 93 because they are supplementary. And I get 87 degrees. So the measure of angle G, 87 degrees. And it's because opposite corners are supplementary. This one's a little bit more straightforward. I just got through saying opposite corners are supplementary. So basically all I need to do, don't set them equal. They are not equal. So I'm going to say this angle plus that angle, set them equal. They are supplementary, so you set them to 180. So I've got 7 x's plus 5 more x's. 14. Nothing to really check. I think I will do this though. If I plug this back in, it says this is a 98-degree angle. That seems reasonable, although you have to be careful with that because sometimes the picture doesn't match up. And that's that.